What's the best way to dink? Volley dink, off the bounce, or when it gets up to the apex? In this video, I'm going to show you how the pros do it so that you can dink better. Let's get into it. The dinking that we're studying in this video is the latest dinking at the pro level. This is the most recent mixed doubles finals match at the PPA Tour between the #1 and #2 seed. This match includes all the dinking we're going to look at, including the volley dink, the off the bounce apex dink like these here, as well as the short hop dink off the bounce as you're going to see here. We're going to cover all three in this video. This video is part of our Learn from the Pro series made possible by the PPA Tour, the best players in the game, as well as the best coaches in the game, the Better Pickleball Academy. If you want to make sure that you stay on top of the game and get the latest in pickleball, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you get more Learn from the Pro series. We're going to spend most of our time together discussing the off the bounce dink because that is the dink that gives players most trouble. But the video would not be complete if we did not look at a volley dink or in-air dink and talk about its place in the pantheon of dinking. So this dink here, which Georgia Johnson here is taking out of the air, is a volley or in-air dink. This is the optimal way of dinking if you can hit it out of the air and not miss it. So if you have that within your arsenal, this is a really good approach to dinking. A few reasons. One is it removes angles. So that ball is traveling in this direction here. If you don't take it out of the air, it's going to bounce somewhere in here. You're going to have to then move back to take that ball or take it off the bounce. Related to that is you don't have to move as much. So when you put those two together, you're not as open to attack by your opponents, as much stress by your opponents when they try and dink you cross court like this, if you can take it out of the air. The other reason is because it removes time from your opponents reacting. So Annalie Waters over here just hit that ball. She's still off the court here getting set. Georgia takes that ball out of the air. If she can do something with it, then Annalie has less time to get set. If that ball is allowed to travel through and bounce, then Annalie and Ben have a better opportunity to get themselves in the position they want to be in. Which ties into another benefit, potential benefit of taking dinks out of the air, as you'll see in this next rally. We're going to look at here is we're going to look at Georgia Johnson is able to attack Ben off of a in-air dink. So here she's taken the ball out of the air, and now she's going to be able to attack Ben with that shot and overcome Ben's defenses there and win that rally. So generally speaking, if you can dink it out of the air successfully, that is going to be your first option. Next, we're going to move on to off the bounce dinks. But before we do that, I want to show you a superpower that Georgia Johnson has in this rally. She uses an in-air or volley dink to create some really good offense. And I think Georgia is one of these players who is perhaps a bit underrated in her field. In mixed doubles, she's known as one of the top players. Her and JW are #2 seed here and usually one of the top teams. But on the women's side, she hasn't yet really broken through completely. But you're going to see in this rally how she has a tremendous vision of the court and an ability to create, which is very unique to her. And I'm going to run it a couple of times, once so you can see it fully, and then I'll stop it and show you. So you're going to see how she's moving forward, and she's going to be able to attack Ben down the line. Pretty interesting attack there, seeing the movement here. Now I'm going to slow it down for you now and show you what she's seeing at the time. So here you see Ben come over, so this is open, and then as she's getting ready to hit this ball, she sees an opening there. She's just going to flick it down the line. Ben, best player on the planet, him and Annalie Waters, yet Georgia's able to find a space there and attack that space before Ben can recover. That's a tremendous superpower, being able to see the court. The better you see the court when you're playing, the better you can develop these types of skills. Let's take a look at the two types of off-bounce dinks. We're going to start with the short hop dink. As you can see here, Georgia's coming down with her paddle almost at the moment the ball leaves the court. That is a short hop dink. There's two characteristics that are helpful to look at here. One is Georgia doesn't have a lot of time to react to this ball, meaning she can't really direct it too many different places based on the amount of time she has to deal with the ball. Second thing is energy. So when the ball bounces off the court right here, it has maximum energy coming off the court. When you're dealing with short hop dinks, you're having to deal with a lot of energy, and you're going to see that could become a problem. If you're a TPS student, this is energy and trajectory inside your course. Make sure you check those out. The next type of dink we're going to look at, off the bounce dink, is a apex dink. So this is where the ball has landed on the court and set up in an apex, and Georgia's hitting it from this spot. A couple of characteristics again. One, Georgia has more time to interact with this ball. She can see what's going on, she can assess the situation, and she has more options on where she hits the shot. Secondly, energy. The ball has maximum energy here, where it bounces on the court. As it comes up and reaches the apex, it loses that energy. So there's less energy to be concerned with. I'm going to show you some of the errors that happen with short hop dinks, but as we do, let us know in the comments below, what do you primarily use for dinking? Are you using apex dinking? That's number 1. Or are you mostly short hop dinking? That's option number 2. In this rally, we're going to see the 2 dinks that Georgia just hit, the one off the apex and the one off the short hop. And it'll show us the first risk we have to address when we're dealing with short hops, which is dinks into the net. We're going to see it again with her brother JW on the other side now. Short hop's the first one, fine. Second one, short hop into the net. I'm going to run one more rally so you can see it clearly. Now, this is not to suggest that pros are missing a ton of these into the net, but it is to suggest that even the pros miss at a higher rate when they short hop than when they apex dink. So one thing for you to consider when you're trying to determine how you want to dink is the potential for additional error from a short hop dink. The second risk from the short hop dink comes from the energy. Remember that when that ball leaves the court, right when it bounces off the court, it has the most energy. In this rally, what you're going to see is Georgia takes a short hop. That ball is going to leave her paddle here. You're going to see the ball just pings off of her paddle. Too much energy in a pop-up that Ben can then attack and put away. So that energy factor from the short hop dink can hurt you in these situations. This next rally, you're actually going to see the best player on the planet, Annalie Waters, have the same problem with her short hop dink. Here she's hitting off the apex, no problem. Off the apex, no problem. Off the apex, no problem. And then what you see now is you're going to see she's going to take one off the short hop here in a second here. You're going to see her take it off the short hop. Boom. Pop up. JW comes in and puts it away. So another risk of a short hop dink is too much energy in your dink, resulting in potential pop-up. Now that we know some of the risks of the short hop dink, let's look at some of the advantages of the apex dink. First one we're going to look at here is a nice attack by Georgia Johnson here. She's able to initiate an attack and then put it away. I'm going to put a side by side here so you can see the two different, the 2 shots and how they develop. So take a look on the left and take a look on the right. So these 2 preparations look virtually identical. There's a small difference between them, but that difference is really hard to see in real time. Everything else is pretty much identical between the 2. So the question you have to ask yourself is, can you tell the difference between these 2 in real time? I would submit it's very hard to do. Up here, you're going to see a dink, and down here, you're going to see that flick attack with the nice put away there, paddle ready, and then the brother and sister congratulating each other, which is awesome. Here, we're going to see another thing now that you can do with an apex dink here. Now, remember on the short hop dink, we talked about how because you're taking that ball right off the bounce, it's so hard to move it around or do something with it. Because Georgia's taken this ball off the apex here, Georgia has options. She can go anywhere with this ball. She can throw it up. She can do whatever she wants, or she can attack. What she's going to do is she's going to roll it beautifully here to Ben's backhand side, putting pressure on Ben and setting herself up to then be able to attack the next ball as Ben recovers. The reason she's able to do that is because of the apex dink. In this last rally, I'm going to show you one other technique that you can use from an apex dink to create attack. If you want to see this in action, seeing it live is totally different than what we're seeing here. The pace of everything is just insane, including watch this finish by Georgia in a second here, the way she rolls it. If you want to check out this action, you got to check out one of these PPA Tour events like this one here. Check out the ppatour.com, see where they're coming into town. I'll put a link down below. Use that link, get your tickets, see the action live. Right after this, we're going to look at how the pros prefer to generally dink, apex versus short hop. But let's look at the short hop for a second before we put a fork in it completely. There are times to short hop. Situations like this. So that dink's going to get behind Georgia. She's going to short hop it because that's all she can do there. That's perfectly fine. Or if you're in trouble, here JW is going to attack. Ben's in transition. Ben's going to short hop that dink. That is perfectly fine. Those places for short hops are perfectly great to do. What you want to avoid is this. You want to avoid short hopping here like Georgia does. There she's just short hopping for convenience, if you will, just taking it off the bounce again and again and again. You want to be careful with that in your play. Use short hops when you absolutely have to. Otherwise, try and maintain mostly an apex dink. Let's bring it all together in this final rally and see what is it that the pros prefer to do. Why not do what the pros prefer in terms of their dinking? when they're taking off the bounce. There's one short hop there, but other than that, look how far off the line Ben gets here, and then look how far off the line JW gets there, because they'll prefer the apex dink. Most of the times you'll see the top pros taking their dinks off of the apex and not short hopping the dink. When you're ready to stop guessing about your game, join us inside the Better Pickleball Academy. I'll put a link right here. You can find out more. And here's another video where you continue to learn from the pros. I'll see you next time.